Hello, watchers of the YouTube. Andrew Fantasia here. It's time for another review marathon. It's been 3 months. You know the drill by now. This is the fourth time we've done this. Fifth if you count the premiere one that I did at the Fanny Awards last February. But it's the review marathon. Here's how it works. Every 3 months, I try to watch as many movies as possible that I have not seen before. But the rule is they have to be at least a year old. They can't have come out in the same year that I am watching them. This was a great challenge for myself that got me to see a whole slew of things that were just sitting on my backlog of to be watched list, and I got through a bunch. You can watch all of those from last year down in the links in the description below. But now it's time for Review Marathon Part 4. What did I watch between the months of October and December 2021? However, this review marathon is going to have a little bit of a twist, and we'll find out what the twist is after the marathon. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, here we go. I watched 24 movies that I have never seen before. Let's see how quickly we can get through them all. Bada bing! Take it away. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I finally gave this thing a whirl. It's better than Part 1, at least, and Jamie Foxx's Electro is alright. I just find it baffling that they took the universally reviled mistake of Venom from Spider-Man 3 and repeated it almost beat for beat with Harry Osborn. Better watch out. Talk about a horror movie that keeps you guessing until the very end. This darkly hilarious Christmas slasher has more twists and turns than a chubby checker driving school. You're going to have a fun time watching Better Watch Out. That is an absolute guarantee. Big Hero 6. Disney's colorful superhero animated feature is everything I expected it to be, with a few surprisingly sweet moments. I know the bias is strong with me, but I really just want Disney to go back to making classical fairy tale musicals. Is that too much to ask? Cannibal Holocaust. Okay, disclaimer. Cannibal Holocaust is disgusting and should not be watched by anyone. Now, with that out of the way, here are my personal thoughts. Cannibal Holocaust is disgusting and should not be watched by anyone. I'm still not sure why this motion picture needed to exist. Color Out of Space. Lovecraft adaptations are so scarce that I'll take them wherever I can get them. This ended up just being a low-budget Nicolas Cage vehicle more than anything else, and it left me unsatisfied, which I will probably still be until Lovecraft stories get the epic big-budget treatment they deserve. Crawl. The simple idea of a woman trapped in a crawl space with an alligator during a hurricane is pretty damn brilliant. All the added little layers and simple twists they sprinkle in are icing on a very wet, very satisfying cake. Cruel Intentions. Contrary to what 1999 might think, seeing disgustingly rich white people who treat others like garbage trying to redeem themselves into an 11th hour happy heroic ending is not my idea of a swell time. I don't think I've ever cheered so loudly at a protagonist's death before. Dead Heat. Joe Piscopo and his partner become zombie cops, and also Vincent Price is there. Do you really need to know anything else? The Descent. People have been whispering in my ear about The Descent since it first descended, and I'm glad I finally got a chance to see it for myself. It's worth all of the years of hype. Easy Rider. In my unpopular opinion, there's not much movie here. More of a drug-fueled travelogue saved from stagnation by Jack Nicholson's midway appearance. I get what they're trying to say, and I agree with it. I just think, I'm tripping out, man, is not a very strong story idea. Four Christmases. Coming from a family where divorce is as common as rainfall, Four Christmases felt like a much more true-to-life take on the holidays than most of what Hollywood has to offer. It's got a solid story and a really fun cast to round everything out. Fred Claus. You can take the Vince Vaughn out of Christmas, but you can't take the Christmas out of Vince Vaughn. Aside from Paul Giamatti turning in one of the most subtle and human takes on Santa Claus I've ever seen, this film suffers from a really uneven tone and way too much unfunny slapstick. Also, what's with them reusing music from Mouse Hunt? That was weird. House of Dracula. Clocking in at a whopping 1 hour and 6 minutes, House of Dracula has the distinction of being one of the last great Universal monster epics, before the studio hung up its black capes in favor of a change of pace. This was okay, but to me it just felt like a less entertaining rehash of the next movie. House of Frankenstein. Definitely the better of the two House movies. House of Frankenstein has it all. A mad doctor with a hunchbacked assistant, spooky atmosphere set in Central European locales, all the stuff you've come to love and expect from Universal. Still not great as far as crossover movies go, but they were still learning the ropes back then. The Hunt. Poor people being hunted for sport by rich people is far from a new concept. The Hunt takes some very modern suppositions, though, and defies them in new and creative ways. It's fun, and I appreciated the Kill Bill vibes. Jennifer's Body. Diablo Cody proves she can write horror just as well as she can do drama. Jennifer's Body is fun and hilarious and silly and horrific when it needs to be. Also, we are living on the cusp of a Megan Fox renaissance. It's coming. Don't say I didn't warn you. Mayhem. Mayhem is a headache-inducing, low-budget, cathartic revenge fantasy about people in an office just beating the ever-loving hell out of each other. Come for the premise, stay for the Stephen Yeun. Miracle on 34th Street. This classic had eluded me for way too many years, so I put my foot down. Miracle is the absolute delight I was expecting, with a wonderful take on the Christmas spirit and Santa himself. And it's always nice to see New York in its pastel-colored days of yore. Motel Hell. A deranged farmer with good intentions, seriously, he has good intentions, kidnaps and slaughters people, sells their meat, and makes a fortune. The titular motel is barely present, but despite that odd choice, Motel Hell is crazy, pig blood-stained fun. Oculus. Loved the concept and loved the two leads, but Oculus suffers from Evil Dead syndrome, wherein the villainous mirror seems to be able to do anything the writer chooses it to do at any given moment, with no rules keeping everything in check, and that really lowered the stakes for me. Scare Package. Scare Package is what happens when people who enjoy Wayans Brothers comedies try to make an anthology horror in the vein of Creepshow. You end up with a handful of hilarious highlights and then long plateaus of dead flat moments that drag on forever. Smokey and the Bandit. The cinematic manifesto of every Coors-chugging, Confederate flag-waving truck driver in the United States, Smokey and the Bandit's legend preceded it, and I had to check it out for myself. It was pretty funny, all things considered, but half the time I kept thinking that the writers of Live and Let Die needed to sue somebody. Urban Legend. The gloomy, grimy CW aesthetic of late 90s slasher pictures really never sat well on my palate. While Urban Legend gave me exactly what I expected, I found it mediocre at best, and I don't think I would have been more generous had I watched this when it was fresh. Seeing Scream Queen Danielle Harris was the highlight for me. When Harry Met Sally. I'm going to make a bold claim here. When Harry Met Sally is to romantic comedies what The Lord of the Rings is to fantasy. It is the quintessential. Charming, beautiful, bittersweet, funny, packed with memorable quotes and moments. I'll have whatever this movie's having. And Harry and Sally makes 24. Boom. There we go. We're here. We did it. It is actually the smallest review marathon that I've done. That's the smallest amount of films just because, I don't know, I guess October through December was busier than I thought it would be. I don't know why I thought the holiday season would be less busy. But sometimes I'm a stupid, stupid man. But what's cool is, thanks to this whole marathon setup that I started doing, in the year 2021, I watched altogether 112 movies that I had been wanting to see that I had never seen before. That's a hell of an accomplishment. That's more than I've ever done. So I'm happy to say 112 is a nice round number. Now let's see if we can beat that in 2022. So that's the challenge I'm laying out for myself. That's the first of two twists here in this review marathon, but there's one more twist. In 2022, I am inviting all of you who are watching this to join me. Let's see what your review marathons are like. The rules are simple. You know them by now. It's every 3 months. So you have, starting now to March 31st, you got to try and see as many movies you've never seen before as you can, but they can't have come out in 2022. And if you really want to get technical, they can't have come out any point after March 2021 either. So the farther back you go, the easier it's going to be for you. But I want to know what you watch. I want to know how many you managed to see in 3 months, and I want to know what you thought of all of them as fast as humanly possible, just like we do here. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you in another 3 for the review marathon, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks for the next Fanny Awards, because those are right around the corner. Until then, my friends, adios.